Hey guys, how's it going? My name is Chris and welcome to Cross Shop. It's getting close to 2 months since my last pickups video and I haven't gotten a whole lot of stuff. This will probably be the last one I do before the garage sale season starts up and start hopefully pulling in quite a bit more things at lower cost. But I figured now was a pretty good time to kind of bookmark what I've been getting so far in 2016. So this is everything I've acquired since basically about mid-January. I don't fully remember what the circumstances were, but I was about 20 minutes south of where I live here in St. Louis, and I stopped in at a thrift store that I typically frequent anytime I'm in that area. And I picked up a couple of PS1 games. They're greatest hits collections, mind you, but that's okay by me. I'm gonna play these. And the first one was Rayman, and this was, I think, $3 at this thrift store, so I was really happy to get that. The case was pretty beat up, but I recently also purchased a set of jewel cases to kind of clean up some of my cracked cases for PS1 games and things like that. So this one's in a brand new case. At that same store, I also got Gran Turismo 2, again for $3. I spent a ton of time playing the first Gran Turismo with my brother and my dad actually as a kid. So that's kind of a nostalgic PS1 game for me. And I admittedly haven't even touched this one yet, so I'm really eager to pop it in and spend a little time with it to kind of see how it differs from the first one and to see if I have a preference for one over the other. While on that same trip, I had a mission in mind and I really wanted to get this game because I've been wanting to get it for a while. So I picked up a brand new copy of Shovel Knight on Wii U. On that same trip, I also grabbed another game I've been told is excellent. Some people laud it as one of their favorite games of the last generation, if not one of their favorite games of all time, especially in the open world genre, and that's Red Dead Redemption. And I'd held off in a lot of ways because I specifically wanted the Game of the Year edition so it would have all of the DLC. I'm not much of a multiplayer guy, so I won't be touching that, but I really like going for the final edition of stuff when I can. Probably a week or two later, I stopped in at Half Price Books, and I've got to say, they've really been kind of upping their game lately. The past couple of times I've been in there, the games have been of a slightly higher quality. There's been a greater quantity of games. And on that visit, I picked up a handful of crummy N64 games, and those are going to be WCW Mayhem, Kobe Bryant and NBA Courtside, Ready to Rumble Boxing, and this one might not be quite as crummy. I've heard this one's good. I've not really played it, but I know some people felt pretty favorably toward the Ready to Rumble series. Forsaken 64. I'm really not sure
what this game's about at all.
And 1080 Snowboarding, and I know a lot of people also like this one. So the full batch wasn't totally crummy. And some people have noted that I've been putting end labels on my N64 games. I also meticulously clean all of them. I do that with all of my games, but I decided some time ago that I'm indeed going to try to go for a complete N64 set. I know that's kind of an unpopular decision because the N64 admittedly has a ton of shovelware. Obviously, a lot of the other Nintendo platforms do now too. Most notoriously, perhaps, is the Wii. But the N64 is the first console I bought with my own money, and it holds a really special place in my heart for that reason. And the fact that its total North American library is under 300 games, barely, makes it a bit more of an attainable sort of goal. And at the moment, I'm sitting at just around 25% of the library. And by picking up these cheap sports games for between $1 and $4 tops, I'm really okay with that because... Anyway, enough about the N64 on that trip. On that same trip to Half Price Books, I also picked up a couple of Super Nintendo games that I'd not seen really in the wild too much. And the first one of those is Ultima: The False Prophet. I think this also has the Roman numeral maybe 6 behind it. I'd have to check, but from what I remember seeing, I think that's the numbered entry in this series. And I also got Nobunaga's Ambition, Lord of Darkness. I popped this game in as well, and I'll admit, it really didn't grab me too much. I thought the cover art looked really cool. And although I'm not going for a full SNES set, because that is for seriously intense people like my buddy Retro Hunter K over in California, who's well on his way to doing so, I definitely do like picking up the uncommon SNES game that I run into here and there. A couple of weeks after that, I found myself in the store Vintage Stock. I picked up 3 games because they were having a buy 2 get 1 free sale, and I didn't see any retro games that I really wanted that day, nothing that was at least reasonably priced, even with the buy two get one free price. And I've also been trying to grow my PS4 library, so I picked up Sleeping Dogs, the Definitive Edition, Saints Row 4 First Edition, which I believe has all of the DLC in it as well, and another game I've been really eager to check out because I like survival horror games quite a bit. And this game was made by Shinji Mikami and his team of Resident Evil notoriety, and that was The Evil Within. At some point in early February, maybe late January, I stopped in at Target and found myself lucky enough also to get the World of Nintendo Ocarina of Time link. But I really like his design, and Ocarina of Time is, as with many other people, one of my favorite games ever, so this was a must get. On that same day as the Target visit, I once again stopped at a nearby GameStop just to see what they had, and picked up a brand new copy of The Order 1886, a PS4 exclusive, and this was under $10, which was interesting because the pre-owned price for this game was, I think, 15, 17 bucks, something like that. This is still sealed, and it was, I think, $8.99, $9.99 possibly. From what I've heard, it's a really short game. I know it got kind of mixed reviews, but for 10 bucks, I'm okay with getting a brand new copy of this game. And I also got Resident Evil: The Dark Side Chronicles. I already had the Umbrella Chronicles, and I like picking up pretty much any Resident Evil game that I can when I find one. And this one was priced pretty reasonably at GameStop as well, and seemed to be in good condition. I'm kind of picky with games that have cases. I like to find ones that are clean and in as good of repair as possible before I purchase them. Jumping ahead into late February and early March, some of you may have already seen this, but I also got the Mega Man Legacy Collection with the corresponding gold amiibo. I actually did an unboxing video of this pretty recently too. So if by some chance you haven't seen an unboxing by someone else other than me already, I know there's gallons of these videos out there by now, then feel free to watch it. I'll link it right up here. Just yesterday, I actually was able to leave work a little early because we were actually having an off-site meeting. So what better time to do some game hunting than that? I was once again in the vicinity of that vintage stock that I mentioned, so I picked up a few retro games here. I got Fatal Fury on SNES and Spider-Man for Super Nintendo. This is based on, I believe, the animated series from the 90s. As well as a PS1 game that I've eyeballed a number of times because I see copies of it quite frequently, and it looks cool. Admittedly, I haven't done a lot of research on it to know if it's of any good quality. I have a hunch it's probably not because it typically is priced pretty low everywhere I see it. But I've been watching the first season of Dragon Ball Z lately, have been really enjoying it. I'm like, that'd be kind of fun to get a PS1 Dragon Ball Z game, so I picked up Dragon Ball Z Ultimate Battle 22. After leaving vintage stock on that same day, yesterday, I stopped in at a Goodwill that I can usually hit up on my way home, and it's pretty hit or miss, but I lucked out this time because I got each of these games for $3 a piece, and they're all complete. The Legend of Korra, A New Era Begins on the 3DS, Steel Diver on the 3DS, and Resistance 3 on the PS3. As promised, guys, this is a pretty quick pickups video. I haven't gotten a whole lot in the meantime since my last one, but today marked the item I was most excited to get, I think, and that was the Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess HD Edition with the Wolf Link amiibo. As I mentioned, I just got home with this thing, so I haven't even opened it up yet, but I'm very excited to add this to the collection. Twilight Princess is an amazing game. If you haven't played it yet, this is a great way to do so if you have a Wii U, so be sure to check it out if you can. Well, guys, that wraps up this pickups video. As I mentioned, it has been kind of a slow past couple of months, but I think garage sale season is going to be starting up here pretty soon in my area, as I'm sure it is in many of yours as well. But yeah, once again, guys, thanks so much for watching this video. If this was your first Cross Chop video and you liked what you saw, please subscribe. Thanks so much for hanging out at Cross Chop today, and play heavy.